In this video, I'm going to show you how to effectively self-educate so you can teach yourself anything college failed to teach you. This is something I've been doing for a few years now, and while the tools themselves have changed, the ideas have not. Self-educating has not only helped me get a job in a field completely unrelated to my major, but it's expanded my worldview and helped fill in the gaps that college failed to teach me. So we'll talk about why it's so important, what you should learn, and the system I use to teach myself anything. So, why is self-education so important? Like I mentioned, college really does not teach us the life skills and give us the knowledge that we need to be successful in the real world and continue to educate ourselves beyond just the classroom. It teaches you how to think and act like an employee, which is great for them, great for the government, great for big corporations, but not for you. So then it is up to us to educate ourselves and fill in the gaps where they failed to teach us. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying. So the first big reason, if you want to improve your skills, expand your worldview, make more money in the future, you need to be self-educating because this knowledge isn't just going to come to you. So this continuous learning will basically help you update your brain. It'll give you new thoughts and ideas, basically help you make new connections, and it'll make you realize you don't know as much as you think you do, and then you need to learn more. Because I'm sure you've met someone who thinks they know everything. They refuse to accept new information, refuse to admit when they're wrong. They're not going to expand their worldview. They're not going to learn anymore. They're not going to grow anymore. And these people are honestly just a pain in the ass to deal with. And I used to think I was pretty well educated. I thought I knew a lot about the world until you start diving into self-education and you realize that there's a lot that you don't know. And even the things that you feel like you have a good grasp on go way deeper, and you can just keep learning more and more. And the second big reason here is you don't want to be reliant on anyone for information. You want to be able to go out, get information for yourself, find new resources, and be able to educate yourself without having to rely on other people. Because if you just listen to other people and go off what they say, you're not going to know why you hold certain ideas. You won't have more understanding of a topic, and you're going to be able to be manipulated easier. So you have to be able to think things through, educate yourself, and understand the topics on your own. So not only does self-education give you better ideas, new skills, but it allows you to test your understanding, see where your ideas and beliefs come from, and continue to grow. So what should you learn? You can learn basically anything there is to know besides some niche stuff. Like, I'm sure you could even learn nuclear physics if you really wanted to, but outside of a few niche things, you can learn damn near anything. The technology and resources that are available today, you have no excuse not to learn anything. Try to learn something about everything and everything about something. So the best way to go about this is to pick a topic that you're interested in or you have a goal that you want to achieve. So if you want to start getting into health and fitness, and you want to learn about diet and exercise, you start there and you can funnel down as you learn more and more. So a few topics that I've educated myself on that I think everyone should have at least a basic level of understanding are health and fitness, creating systems, personal finance, AI, critical thinking skills, speaking skills, emotional regulation, writing, and that's just the beginning of it. There's a lot more, but that's a good place to start. I've even recently been learning about ancient philosophy and learning a new language with this method, so you can learn anything. And in the future, once you have a decent grasp of one topic that you're diving in, you can start connecting other ideas to it and learn other ideas at the same time. And like I said, that's how you start to expand your worldview, because you're learning multiple things and you're able to connect the dots that you couldn't before. And once you have the topic you want to learn about and you start to get ideas on it, your subconscious brain is going to start picking up things in the world that you never saw before, and you'll be able to connect dots without even learning a new topic. But once you have one thing that you want to focus on, you'll just start getting ideas out of the void. And this just helps to, again, expand your worldview, and it'll help your ideas evolve over time as you gain new knowledge and you can revisit old ideas and update your way of thinking. So now for the system. There's honestly a lot of different ways you can self-educate. I'm not gonna say this is the only way, but to use modern technology makes it a whole lot easier. We have AI at our fingertips, so there's really no reason not to use it. And that's what I found to be the most effective. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. All right, so now I'm going to teach you how I self-educate with a real example of something I want to learn more about, which is gut health. I've been curious about gut health for some time now, and I know some basics. I've looked up a few things, so I'm not completely blind here, but I don't know too much of why it's essential, how we can improve it, all that. So I'm going to learn that live now. For you, picking your topic, start with something you're curious about. This will make it much easier to just continuously learn. And then once you feel like you have a decent grasp on how to learn, then you can go down to more complex topics. So we are here in GPT, and I have a prompt that I typed out before. I'm interested in learning about gut health. I don't know too much about it, so let's start with the basics. Give me a summary on what gut health means, why it's important, the evolution of gut health knowledge, practical tips for improving gut health, and anything else you think would be important for someone to know about gut health. So that's the basic prompt. You can kind of fill in whatever topic you want there. I feel like this gives a good overview of the topic. You don't need to be super in depth right away. But this last part is very important here. So, can you refine this prompt I will use for deep research so I can get better information? And when you talk to GPT or other AIs like this, it's just going to improve the prompt and you'll get more out of it without having to know all the exact questions to ask it. So we'll give this a go. So spit out a better version of the prompt I asked, and it's going to just tailor it to gut health a bit more rather than just the basic questions up here, which are good to get it started. But since it knows what topic I want to learn about, it's going to give me more tailored questions to gut health. And then down here, there's even more tailored questions, which we don't need to start there. This is good for the foundations, and then this you can dive more into later on. But now we have our better prompt. So I'm going to copy this, going to go to deep research, paste that in. So then the deep research is going to ask you even more questions to get a bit more specific. So we're just going to answer these real quick. All right, so I answered the questions, and then you send that. Again, this is not anything crazy, just basic questions you answer. And then it's going to do its thing, and it takes about 5 to 10 minutes generally. And you can just read that here. So it's going to go in depth, starts the research. And now we're going to go to the other tool. So Perplexity is another research assistant. So we're just going to paste in that same expanded prompt that we used. Do deep research here. Then you give that a go. And then this is going to run as well for a few minutes. So you just let them both do their thing. So once it's done, it's going to give you a full summary of basically everything you asked for. So you're going to go through this and the GPT summary and look for the most important ideas. So I'm going to read through this real quick, read through the GPT one, see which topics are most interesting to me. And ideally you want to pick 3 that are interconnected so that when you research them, you start to get a basic foundation. And also it's good to just take notes on a bunch of these different topics, see what you're interested in. I'll usually read the whole thing on both Perplexity and GPT, find the most interesting things to me and kind of just summarize them in my own word. And that starts to give you an understanding as is. And then you pick the 3 most important topics. So this one already gave me further learning resources, but I have my 3 topics that I want to go more in depth on. And these are kind of just like general. They're going to talk about all different stuff. So now we're going to ask it to go more in depth on the 3 topics, 2 to 3, but I chose 3 topics that I want to learn more about. All right, so I have my 3 topics here: the gut-brain connection, metabolic function from gut health, and a diet to improve gut health. So this is the prompt. I want to learn more about these 3. And I said, give me the most up-to-date resources on these topics, include articles, books, podcasts, and anything else that would be useful to me. And you're not doing this in the deep research. This is just the normal search. And now I have all the best resources possible to dive more into these topics. And you can take it one step further and go to a resource, copy the link and say, can you summarize this resource for me, for the average person to know. And there you go. You don't even have to read it. But I do recommend reading to get a better understanding. This is kind of just a vague overview. But if you really want to understand it, it's best to read a bit more. And now you have at least a week, probably 2 to 3 weeks of resources to dive into, learn more about. And ideally, you're going to take notes on this or do some writing on it. I like to write, so like I said, I'll summarize this and then I'll take notes and then write to make connections, and it just reinforces your own understanding. Because if you're kind of just copying, pasting it and reading it and not actively doing any work, it's not going to sink in as deeply as it could. And that is it. That is how you self-educate, how you take control of your own learning, speed up the process, and you'll just be able to get so much more education and knowledge than you would otherwise. I encourage you to take this method and learn whatever you're curious about, see how powerful it is, and go down the self-education rabbit hole. And in a future video, I'll talk about how I take notes and do my writing to gain understanding of these topics more and make more connections.